Islamic Dad here. I'm going to do a video on what's sometimes referred to as narcissistic boredom. And I'll bring up some experiences from my own life with the narcissists that I've dealt with. At a high level, it's the idea that in addition to kind of the core traits and emotions that people are aware of, that the narcissist kind of goes out into the world with, meaning insecurity, inadequacy, shame, that in addition to those core feelings, there's also a feeling of boredom. And the way that it kind of manifests when dealing with the narcissist and in the narcissist life, it kind of makes sense when you once you understand that model and how it fits in with everything. For example, meeting a new target, love bombing. What is driving the narcissist to go to such extremes and pour that much energy is that they're coming from a place of unbearable boredom. Just where, when they wake up in the morning, in addition to feeling, shame, inadequacy, that there's also this just painful feeling of boredom, and that it drives them, to seek solutions. And in respect to love bombing, they pour all this energy into it because it's exciting. And that, one of the key things that the narcissist is looking for is novelty and excitement. And, that kind of explains a lot of their behavior and some of their, questionable choices. And so when they find someone new, that is exciting for them. And that excitement feeds them. It is in a real way, supply. And I know that typically with, discussing narcissism, we like to say, oh, supply is validation, attention, the feelings of power through control and conflict, and things like that. But the truth is that with the model of narcissistic boredom, there's also this supply that comes through excitement and novelty. And that this drives the narcissist to pour this energy into the new relationship and into love bombing, is because, it's not, it's manipulative in that they don't take the other person's feelings into consideration or think long term. But the truth is that I think the narcissist is getting as much out of the love bombing as the target is. In the narcissist mind, they've convinced themselves, oh, this is the person. This is the person that's going to solve all my issues, because they're going to be the one that's always going to be giving me that new tasty supply, that excitement, that novelty. And so that's why the love bombing phase is so exciting. It's about, it's not about just sitting on your butt talking. It's about doing and going and experiencing things. And, within the model of narcissistic boredom, what happens is that at the kind of the end of the love bomb phase, the excitement reaches its peak. Or I should say, a better term would be novelty. The novelty reaches a peak where the narcissist then is, okay, this is my partner. it has become more commonplace and accepting. And so it's not simply that the narcissist intuitively knows that the target has accepted the relationship, but it's also, simultaneously to that, that the narcissist themselves has reached a point where they're like, oh, this is as good as it gets. This is my partner. Like, this is, it's been a wild ride, but we've gone to the same restaurants, we've gone to the same clubs, done the same crazy things, met the same crazy people, and now it's become stable, and commonplace to the narcissist. And whereas for normal people, stability, consistency are, healthy and, kind of the foundation on which to grow and explore life, the narcissist isn't like that. And that they prefer a little bit of chaos. And again, narcissists are very well known for creating and being in the middle or around drama in their lives, always. And so what happens is that once it reaches that peak, then the devaluation starts. And again, it's something I've touched on in earlier videos, where for the narcissist, it's like, okay, I'm not going to end the relationship because I'm still getting supply, but the supply I'm getting just doesn't taste as good as it did in the olden days. A year or two ago, this supply tasted great. Now it's tolerable, it's okay, but I have to go elsewhere to get something that tastes better, to kind of even things out. And as the relationship goes on, the narcissist is going to find the relationship, find their partner more and more boring. And that this is one of the reasons why the narcissist treats them with the distance, disdain, contempt, even, that they too do as time goes on. Whereas the narcissist in the past would have replied to a text like that, at the end of the relationship, 6, 8, 12 hours, they don't care. I mean, they are so bored with the target and bored with the relationship that, from the narcissist's perspective, they're not really getting much out of it. They're not going to throw away supply, because, even bad supply is better than no supply, and it's always there. And it's not like it's stopping them from going out and finding more novel supply elsewhere. And so, it kind of does a good, the model of narcissistic boredom really kind of fits with the whole cycle of love bombing, devaluing, discard to some extent. And so I wanted to go over like specifics in my life that like fit this. And it was surprising to me because some of them really fit well, and I hadn't really thought of things in that context. So as I've mentioned about my ex-wife, when she had her midlife crisis and her new persona was this malignant narcissist, she was a party girl. In her mind, she wasn't 40. She was the 19-year-old going out and partying all the time. And, doing, crazy things that she would never even have considered when she was 19. And at the time, I was very aware that, that she had a ravenous appetite for novelty. And that, once she dove into this kind of, hedonistic, party lifestyle, that she went through experiences and people very quickly. It was almost, like an addict looking for that same high that they had the first time, and always, trying new things and always having to increase the dosage, chasing the dragon. That was very much my ex-wife at the time. I mean, she was very much chasing the dragon, always just trying to find the most intense, most novel, experience to have. And within that context, it was because her real life, from her perspective, was so boring. It's like, okay, I'm 40 years old. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I live in the suburbs. Snore. And, she wanted an escape from that. And instead of handling it in a healthy way, she had a midlife crisis and went, careening off, went kind of psycho. So that was one part that really resonated with that, was just, that inability to, at that part of, our lives, when she, after she had the midlife crisis, I don't think she could go a day or two without a fix. And also, even when she was with the family, she was on her phone. And again, I spoke about that previously, but I think it fits in very, very well too, where it's this like constant little dopamine hit that the narcissist can have, where they're just, say they're chatting with 10 people, they can just, get their compliment here, validation here, stuff like that, and just always have that throughout the day. Like, they literally never have to go an hour without feeding their addiction. My ex-girlfriend was, okay, so overall with our relationship, I had like the love bombing and the discard phase and stuff. And we had a very active, fun lifestyle that we had created for ourselves. And that lasted for, I'd say, 2.5, 3 years. And then the last year of our relationship, again, she was just bored to death, and really and the way she never really said that directly, but she showed it through her actions, and the whole kind of like the discard phase of things, where she was distant emotionally, as far as communication, just everything. It was like, for me, it was being in a relationship with a ghost, or just vapors. So again, it was one of those things where, and as I said, we had created this life, lots of dancing at clubs, working on music together, going camping in the mountains and stuff like that. I mean, things that initially were very fun and fulfilling for her. And then quickly, within a year or two later, it was just, she was kind of just going through the motions, and, and really not making any attempt to fix things as far as that. And again, that's something that is interesting to me with like the narcissistic boredom. And from stories I've heard and what I've read, is that inevitably the narcissists think so strangely. So they'll feel this narcissistic boredom. They will make bad choices, but they will not necessarily constructively do things to fix that. So, for instance, in a relationship, instead of saying, hey, let's try, scuba, or, let's try skydiving or something like that, like a normal healthy person would, the narcissist will just stew in their juices and fume that the target is boring, meaning that the target is not like a circus clown, entertaining them and coming up with new exciting things to do. And that aspect of the relationship is extremely one-sided, where it is the responsibility of the target to come up with the plans and the fun and the excitement and always have it be new. And that was something that I saw with both of my narcissists in my life, to different degrees and different ways, but it's just that same theme was there. And again, with like the phone, as I said before, my ex-girlfriend was basically addicted to her phone, just constantly on it. And she was not Gen Z. She was a millennial and very close to Gen X, but still millennial. And had some funny habits where she had to be doing 3 things at a time, or she would find herself bored. And so, for example, it might be watching a movie, having a discussion with me, chatting with people on her phone, and then doing a crossword puzzle, or knitting, or something like that. And that was what she had to do to kind of alleviate and deal with like that narcissistic boredom, was just perpetually be stimulated to that degree. And the thing is that it wasn't enough. I mean, it was, I guess like methadone for a heroin addict or something. It was enough to keep them from going into withdrawals. But it's the same old thing. I mean, she had done, crossword puzzles for the past 5 or 10 years. She had been talking to these people on her phone for who knows how long. She's seen lots of movies on TV, discussing philosophy with me. Okay. But it's just like, these were things that were like all generally, things that she had done before, maybe just not those specific instances. And so it was just enough to keep her going. And so again, like I said, with my ex-girlfriend, she was very much what I would categorize as a covert narcissist, meaning very much, in this case, it was that nothing was ever her fault, but she was the perpetual victim, and one of the tools in her toolbox was to have all these medical conditions. I don't think that there's a medical condition that she doesn't have. I don't know if I would say she's a hypochondriac, but I think that maybe the English language needs a new word. So as I said, she had been diagnosed as on the autistic spectrum, so that was something that came up, and also diagnosed or whatever as having ADHD. And so from her I'd say the perspective of her persona or mask in discussing issues with me and other people, her need for novelty and change and excitement came from her ADHD. And so again, it was never taking responsibility and saying, here, let me find something new to do, or let me see, how about if we go do this on Saturday? It was never that. It was just simply, something along the lines of like, I crave novelty. I need to have novelty. I have ADHD. Period. The end. There was no follow-up action, and there was very much just, get out of jail free card, as far as like, if she, this is a hypothetical. This isn't something that necessarily happened this way, but if she said, I don't want to go camping anymore. I know we've loved doing that in the past, but I don't want to do it anymore. And she would say, I have ADHD. I need to do something new and novel. And again, but not actually make an effort to find that or to do that, but also just giving herself a free pass for like, building, this life with a partner, and then just tapping out, being like, nah, it's boring. Even though I worked with you to create this life for us, it's boring. It's boring. I need novelty. And so, putting the relationship that I had with my ex-girlfriend and my ex-wife, into the context of, narcissistic boredom, I think, it matches up pretty well. I don't know if I can say like it's the, end all be all of models. I don't know if there is one, but I think it's an interesting aspect of the narcissist and what drives some of their behavior, such as making questionable choices, taking unusual risks. It's fun. It's exciting. I mean, maybe that's part of why the narcissist will do crazy things, and then when asked about it 5 minutes later, will just lie, because maybe they like the adrenaline. They're just like, no, I'm going to do something crazy, and then I'm just going to lie about it 5 minutes later, but that'll be fun. That'll be something to alleviate my painful boredom that I have right now. So again, circling back to how I started the video, it's the idea that the narcissist wakes up in the morning, not just with their shame, insecurities, feelings of inadequacy, but also just like a painful boredom that, almost like an itch, where they need, they feel the need to go out and find some excitement or something, at the very least, to distract them from being, in their skin, and, having to experience life that's mundane, consistent, and stable. And so, I mean, I think it's helpful to look at my experiences with the idea of narcissistic boredom as one of the motivators for my exes. So hopefully this video's been helpful. If you like this type of stuff, please subscribe. That way you'll be able to find the new videos when I make them. Thanks.